Okay, I'm returning the car today. So let's conclude the Leapmotor C10 with this sort of walk around video. Now, the things I like about this car, the things that I like over the past few days is all the touch points in the interior is just soft and rounded. Everything is rounded. When you run your hands around here, right? Okay, only this small little part at the back there, you can feel a little bit of the molding lines, conjoining lines of two plastic parts. But other than that, right, everything you run your hands all over the car, right? It is well built. There are no jutting edges and all that. It's just fine assembly. The assembly of it is nice, right? That's the overall of the interior. Everything is just nice. This is very annoying, but I know it's for safety. But whenever it detects me yawning or looking elsewhere, it will run a countdown timer here, 15 seconds, and it's super annoying. I need to press OK to do it. And the safety features of this car is rather intrusive. Every time I start the car, I need to come here, go to ADAS, and disable all this. You know, if not, it is actually very intrusive in the way it works. If it is less intrusive, right, I would have let it be there, you know, but the front collision, rear collision is very intrusive. And especially the emergency lane keep assist. At any time you were driving, sometimes your right wheels step onto the lane markers, right? Wow, it will strengthen the steering wheel and pull you in that type. So it's a bit intrusive. So I disable all that. So I hope in the future when they update the car, they can have a software system that helps you and reminds you without being without being too intrusive, whereby makes you switch it off at the first place and render it pointless to exist when people switch it off. Okay, I love all the touch points of this car. The whole car just feels rounded and nice. But there's one thing with such an interior is that it gives you the perception that you are in a much more expensive car. Even the way the car looks, actually the car has a hint of Cayenne to it, right? There's a Cayenne vibe to that car. And what this results is that the exterior design and the interior touch point and feel of the car and the soundproofing that is not too bad, even though it's single pane window. Here, the soundproofing in terms of the upper levels, in terms of, you know, from the wind and all that, right, is done pretty well. But all this heightens your perception of what the car is until you drive the car out to the road, rough patches and all that. The undercarriage, wheel well and all that sort of betrays the perceived premium of this car and comes back to its real price point, which is a 150,000 ringgit car. So that part will sort of put you off your perception until you think back, hey, it's 150,000. Yeah, when you think back like that, then everything makes sense. The ride quality is comfy and all that. Rear is a bit more bumpy than the front, okay? So that's the overall theme of the car. It's an EV, but I'm glad there are EVs out there who don't need to be too infatuated with acceleration figures. So that's not how this car is tuned. This car is tuned to have a very linear and progressive acceleration. At no point you will feel that the car isn't powerful enough, except sometimes when you need to do a full throttle and you want to overtake something, right? You believe you're in an EV, but this car doesn't quite have that kind of horsepower or that kind of acceleration power to pull it off. But it does, you know, accelerate. I would say it accelerates like ICE 2-liter turbo, not a highly tuned one, without the turbo lag, you know. Okay, so this one still confuses me a bit, but I've soon to learn that you see this left and right button, right? actually, they are not there for you to press. You press the left and right, there's no use. You scroll up and down, and then this is the hard part. The rounded wheel, you can push left and right, which is not super intuitive, but over time you learn it, you know, next and previous song and all that, not by pressing this next and previous song, even though, oops, how do I, okay, yep, press to mute. All right, same goes with here. This is a customizable button, and this is a customizable button, but there are limited options to what you can do with it. The hazard lights being placed here, right? You see, this is your vantage point. This is my eye level, and there was one time where I find it hard to find this button. By right, an emergency hazard light button should be immediately visible. Okay, but I get it. Once you see it, you know where it is lah. Okay, it's a one-time thing. But if they mold the button to be slightly offset, like instead of flat, they mold it like that, then that triangular button will be very obvious. You'll be able to see it. This is not a button they should leave flat. This is a button they should leave flat. More than 10 times throughout 4 or 5 days of driving the car and moving my hand, I accidentally, open random windows. More than 10 times. More than 10 times. Random windows were accidentally pushed and opened. There is a reason why window buttons are designed to be flat, and then there's an indent where you press down to open, and then you pull up to close the window, and they remain flat, right? Putting them jutting out like that looks nice when you're operating it, not so nice when you accidentally touch them. Okay, if the indent of this one can be lower, so you can recess these buttons so that they don't jut out, that much. I see. Very easily you will accidentally open a window. Okay. What else? The compartment here is easily reachable because this top one isn't too fat. Okay. Unlike some cars that block your view even. Wireless charger is alright, but not much airflow can be blown here, and there are no vents over here. There are no vents so that when you charge your phone, they do get heat up. Okay. Cup holders are fine. This is pointless. There's nothing to push here, but they added this trim piece anyway. And this is not a click lock. I'm fine with that because you don't need click lock, provided you want to have a secured compartment, meaning you have a mechanical key and then there's a keyhole here for you to lock this. If not, there's no reason to have click lock. Just pull. Okay. Nothing much inside. It's not ventilated in anyhow. No ports. Nothing inside. Okay. In terms of ports, they have USB-C and A, which is nice. I quite like the idea of putting the rear cup holders here. Okay, let's go to the rear seats. Anything else I need to show you? There are no seatbelt adjusters here, which is a surprise. And these are nice, you know, you have, but it's not common also in the segment to have seatbelt adjusters. All right, panoramic roof has a blind, which is very nice. I hate panoramic roofs without a blind. That is a cost that you shouldn't be saving. All these are well built, you know, well sourced materials. Fit and finish is excellent. The sound system of this car is unbranded, okay, but it's punchy as hell. Okay, not a lot of fidelity in terms of the sound, in terms of absolute clarity and all that. It doesn't have enough speakers to do that, but it's not a premium car. Remind yourself it is 150,000, okay? But I noticed another thing. This entire front part is a sound bar. No wonder it is so punchy. This entire front part is a sound bar. And one thing I like about Chinese cars is that they all allow you, wait, where's sound? Okay, they all allow you to adjust where you want the sound, you know, front, rear and all that. I know a lot of cars has these now, but to have different modes like theater, surround, dynamic, these usually are in premium cars, okay? And the sound systems are great. You compare a similar car in a similar segment, even though ICE. The Bose system from Mazda's, those are horrible. Okay, or the Burmasters from the lower end C class and all that, those are, you know, this is punchy, but you can definitely tell in terms of sound, clarity and fidelity, it's not up to par, but definitely considered as one of an enjoyable sound system, right? You can blast your music and drown out the surrounding. It is better than the Sony systems offered in, let's say, the Omoda C9 or something, okay? Those are branded ones. This is unbranded, but this is definitely punchy, proper, okay? Some parts of the car, you will also betray its price point, you know, the plastics used here and all that, okay? But they're not the type that hurts your knuckles, okay? And then suddenly the speaker here doesn't have the, you know, the metal grill and all that. The whole thing looks very simple, you know, very cut price, but the build is all right, and all these are soft and nice on the upper part. And then here you have an entire throttle pedal made of plastic. I mean, no qualms here. They work fine. I mean, you won't break them, don't worry, okay? Seat adjustment, I don't like the fact that you can't adjust the angle of the seat base. You can raise it really high, you can raise it really high, and the car will still have enough headroom for me, all right? So, but again, it is the interior that made me felt like I deserve a seat base adjustment, until I'm reminded this is a 150,000 ringgit car and the seats are very comfy. These are not real leathers, but they are soft and comfortable, and there is aircon seats, all right? It's not just ventilated. The air that comes out is cold. Very nice, okay? The rear seats, that's the thing with the front seat. This is not my seating position, because I enabled the feature whereby when I alight from the car, this one will reverse back, like the comfort access or something, all right? But nevertheless, even at this seat coming to the back, right, there is a lot of leg room inside this car, plenty of leg room. I know I did this part in my other video, but I just felt I didn't do enough justice, because over the few days that I drove the car, I grew to like it predominantly for the price and the size, okay? I'm constantly reminded that driving the car is not fast enough compared to other EVs. The range isn't crazy exceptional, even though it's pretty accurate. And in terms of undercarriage, it's not sophisticated. You can definitely feel the road and all that. But at the end of the day, the comfort levels of the car, the size of the car, the looks of the car, the way the car looks, and the price is very, very fair, all right? And it's comfy. It is comfy. And I saw some videos from China. The armrest they get in China is a more sophisticated one. There are some stuffs over here which I do not know what's that. It's not even a wireless charger, but there's like a plastic pad over here for those in China. But this is nice. Without the need to have cup holders, this can fully function for what it is, what it should be. A comfortable, cushy armrest, like those old luxury cars before the cup holder era. Right, you go into really old, like Bentleys and all that, right? It's just a cushy cushion at the back, all right? And for the rear passengers, you have the cup holders here, which is logical. It doesn't impede onto elbow room of the front passenger, because that thing is pretty large, and you can just place your drinks over here. Of course, if they stood out, they might, but it's all right. And the aircon vents here are pointed upwards, which circulates air that way instead of blowing straight at the seats, which is nice. And then you get USB A and C port. Of course, it would be nicer if there are more USB ports elsewhere, but you can see the overall theme of this car is to up the perceived material quality that you use, and then try to reduce the amount of places where they need to pull wiring to. Okay, so it's all right. The seatback angle is all right. It's non-adjustable, but it's totally fine. This angle is comfy, all right. And for rear vantage point, we are actually sitting higher than the front passengers, and it looks very airy and all that, all right. It's a comfortable car to be in. To be in. All of us were surprised by the space of the car. It is spacious. Ingress, egress is easy because the doors are huge, and I just noticed the door cards have a slight purple tinge to it, which is nice. I'm not sure if it shows up on camera, you know. And yeah, charging, you have AC, DC, not very high speed though. The AC is 6 kilowatt, and then the DC only up to 60, and it has V2L, okay, vehicle to load, and the boot button is here. Now the button is here, which looks cool, but at night when this whole bar is light up, you cannot see the button. It'll be very hard to locate it, all right. The boot for its segment is not the largest, but the opening is wide and the height is enough, but it's not super deep. And then you have some storage spaces over here, and then if you pull up this one you can raise it like that with a hinge over here. You have the cables, all right. This one is the charging cables. This one is for you to plug into your 3-pin plug. I don't see a V2L. Nah, that's asking too much, right? Is that? Yep. I don't see a V2L sort of adapter over here. Maybe they have it, maybe they don't have in this test car. I'm not sure. So check with your salespeople when you buy the car. All right. So yep, all the things that are needed are here: safety vest, tire repair kit, your triangle, and all the cables and all that. All right, so this one closes down like that, and this one goes like that. All right, and to lower the seats, the only way is to do it from here. There are no levers, but the overall theme of the car is no nonsense. That's what I noticed. You know, there's no nonsense. You have some hook points here. There's a tonneau cover holder here, but I'm not sure where's the tonneau cover, and I don't see a tonneau cover holder here. They didn't have a cutout point. Speaker grills over here, feels I suppose, and the car looks good. I like how the car looks actually. It looks more expensive than its price point. Do remember this is 150 something thousand. And a lot of Artos out there, BYD Artos, people bought them for 160 back then. Of course, there are a lot of sales campaign and all that, but in terms of looks and the immense size of the car, it's not as wide as a Cayenne, but interior room definitely matches up to a Cayenne. And they did it with a 2.8 meter wheelbase. This is exceptional packaging. 2.8 meter wheelbase, right, is what I get from my 2008, 2009 Audi A4. Oh, they even changed the boot opening to the front opening to the side. See, there's a purple tinge to it. I didn't notice when I was in the car. I thought the whole thing is grey until it's basked in sunlight. And now, can I see it from camera? Yeah, I'm sure you guys can see it. There's a tinge of purple. Wow, classy, but if you don't notice it, then it's not classy. Right? Oh, another thing I want to point out. This is the integrated third brake lights. Really nice. Do you notice it's so clean here? There's no wiper. This is brilliant. They hide the wiper in here. Why don't more car makers do that? It's so cool to have the wiper there, and then just one sweep from the middle, it covers this entire space. Of course, sometimes we need to view here and here, which it couldn't do, all right, compared to this wiper. But when you mount it here, you can't swipe too long as well. So that's pretty nice, all right. This one, I always find that if I approach with the wrong hand, very hard to open. It's all right. Okay. All right, let's open the frunk. See the cameras over here. Maybe in China it's LiDAR. Ours don't have the LiDAR on top, but those in China, they do. Oh, that's a pity, right? Why? Why? You can easily route these cables using a cleaner direction, and then you could have done a nice compartment over here. There's so much room over here for you to put a plastic cap, a plastic insert, and turn this into a frunk. And the frunk can be easily removed. Why they don't do that, I'm not sure. There's so much space here. There is so much space for storage, right? Just scan this whole thing, do a molding. Of course, if you can route this to go cleaner, you know, in terms of routing like that. You see, that's a clean pipe. In terms of how it routes, it's perfect. You could have done that with this and then sorted, right? Yeah. Anyway, that's wasted, man. This is wasted space. Very, very wasted. I mean, easy to maintain, easy to do your things, but it's so wasted. Could have had a proper trunk. And the car looks good. Oh, the headlights. I don't think for a new car it's bright enough. I don't think so. Yeah, it is certainly not bright enough to my eyes. When I was in the parking lot the other day, and then at night I was flashing a car in front, was driving awkwardly. It is not bright enough. Enough for normal illumination, but could have been better. Other than that, right, the whole car just looks awesome. It is well designed. It is the construction of it. You see the fitment and all that, right, is perfect. Chinese car constructions, I mean the alignment and all that, right, it's very well done. That's the thing. This car looks more expensive than it is. The touch points feels more expensive than it is. The size, the practicality that you have just feels more expensive than it is. All right. So if you feel like buying this, right, I think you can just go ahead. Just notice on the things that I mentioned, undercarriage, soundproofing, not super awesome, and it may look expensive, but it doesn't have a sophisticated suspension, you know, like those crazy 4-link or whatever. It doesn't have those. Is suspension wise, the ride is comfy, the handling is okay, but in terms of the wheel well, the roads and all that, you can definitely feel it, but it is totally within this segment. It is more than competent enough for its price point. Again, it's just that the perceived design, exterior and interior and material makes you think you are in a more expensive car, and you expect that kind of more expensive cars ride quality. Okay? Yep, that's it. Cheers.